It's the Wizard presenting Ruby and Majesty Treasure Team Devlog number 5. Sorry it's been so much time between updates here. I have been traveling and working on non-game stuff. Need to make some money, so I'm doing that. So I apologize for that, but I've got some cool stuff to show you here. Still quite a bit to show you in this update. Going to start with keys and gems. I switched up how the keys work, and I added another carryable item that there's a couple different types for. So that's now something that you can see Ruby sort of hauling around. She's limited to hauling one thing at a time. And there's a sort of a range she needs to travel before it switches out again. There's some slots to hold these different types of gems. And there's some different types of keys now too. I was originally going to color code these, which I may still add as an option, but I'm using the different sort of symbols on there to differentiate them. That's basically the same kind of jam. We've got the Flamethrower too, which is new. It was almost ready last time, but it's totally ready now. Looks real cool. These have a, I can set the range of rotation and the speed, as well as if they go back and forth or if they just flip back. So if I get rid of some of these, I'll show you that. So if we turn sprinkler off, which this is actually more of what a sprinkler does, I've realized after naming it that, versus having it just go back and forth. It also has a tween option, so if we turn the tween off, it just is linear, which for when it goes back and forth doesn't look quite as cool. So I think it's just a quadratic or something or other, and we can change these too. That is built out of individual little. It's more like the arrow shooting thing, where each individual flame is an object, an instance rather, that can be collided with. That was the best way to get that effect, and then adding all these other things was pretty simple after that. I have learned that I can't type in negative values with the current setup that I have for typing in stuff on here, so I have to look for a fix for that. And that's on the list. Okay, so the next thing to check out is just the sheer volume of levels that I've put together. This is what we have for the first floor so far. Let me move it into frame here nicely. So these are the first set, second set here. Go into set 3. Set 4 is kind of a transition. 5 and 6 might not be, you may be able to choose which order to do them in, though 6 is a little more difficult than 5, so I might just lock it into doing 5 first. But we'll show some of these here. So the other cool thing is that I got the actual, the standard compile good to go. So eventually I'm going to add an option to just switch between the main game and the editor. But for now, I just move that room up, and it should load the main game with the new music, the new levels. There's no final room, so if you get all the way to the end now, it'll just crash, but I'm going to be adding that soon. So that's basically what's going to be released here, maybe in the next week or so, hopefully, once I sort out a few things. And then I'll have to build a system to switch between the different layouts. Let's get the music on here. Music volume 10? Yeah, that's fine. New game. Right now we've got the debug overlay just saying the name of the room for when I take notes. It's covering up the mini map. The thing that's missing from these levels also is the dialogue. There's very little dialogue. There's basically one thing implemented. But this is the game running as it should. Pretty cool. There's some of the newer music. Changed some of the particle effects too. The blocks and the buttons have a little different thing. The buttons now have that ring, which I think is a little less disruptive looking. This is basically first handful of rooms, which should be pretty straightforward. Block collision has been adjusted a little bit too. The blocks now need to be much more on top of the button for the button to switch. Still not totally happy with this Ruby running animation, so if you notice that that looks a little goofy, I'm aware. Here's a new thing. It's a proximity switch, so it determines, it switches when you get close enough to it. And then I double it up as like a sine. And that's my thing that will teach you that sometimes you'll get stuck. Because sometimes I screw it up. There we go. And that's the first 8 or so rooms. And you could just play through that whole set of like 30 or so. Let's actually get a count on that before we wrap up. It's coming along. I would just look at the files, but we'll do it this way. Because it's 10 across for the first row, 10 across for the second row. So that's 20 right there. The version that's playable right now on Game Jolt has, I think, 33 rooms. So this version has, let's see. So that's 20 there. And it goes 3, so 2. It's 28, 30. 6, that's another 12, so that's what, 42. Then another 6, bringing it up to 48. Damn, more than I thought. So almost 50 rooms already, good to go. A few of these don't have a whole lot of exciting stuff going on. Basically this gem room, this junction, and then the 2 rooms that have the gem. So it's closer to 44 actual sort of puzzles, but still pretty cool. And that'll be the most of what's going to be the first big piece of the game. I might add a few more, some more difficult stuff after the gems, after you get the 2 gems from the 2 branches here. I can actually show you that room. So you need to get the 2 gems and bring them back to the stands here. So past that, there'll be maybe some more difficult rooms, and then the transition to the more open part of the game, which will be a little more, more Zelda-esque with a sort of map to a more open map that there'll be kind of dungeons, sort of, I guess, off of, or just challenge areas, things like that. More compartmentalized. That's the progress. That's the plan. Questions and comments are always welcome. Thanks for checking it out, and I hope that I can get the next video out to you in less time. We'll see. Shooting for hopefully sometime in the next couple weeks to get that new version up, so I'll definitely post a video when that is ready to go. Adios!